it's Mrs. Ross, and I'm here today with my friend Rags, and I'm also here with my little friend Russell. And today we are going to continue doing some nonfiction writing. So Russell really likes his food, that's why I got him a little snack. So hopefully he'll behave himself while we're talking about him. If you don't have a pet at home, you could also use like a stuffed animal or a puppet like Rags is. I'm going to use this little guy since he's here with us. And I want to tell you a little bit about Russell. Let's see if I can get him to come up on the couch. Come here, Russ. Uppy. Good boy. So this is Russell. Russell is my sheepadoodle. And you can see that he has curly hair. And I'll tell you that he has a lot of hair when it grows out because we just gave him a little haircut. And it was really hard to cut all that hair off. Now when Russell drinks water, he loves to put his whole face in the water. And it's so silly because he just comes out dripping with water from his face. So I know that's another thing about him that I've observed. Remember how we've used that word observed in science? We're going to use that one in our nonfiction writing too. So it's really important to observe things and not just say things like, I love Russell, but to say the things that we notice. So I just talked to you about the type of dog he is. He's a sheepadoodle, that he's got curly hair, that I've observed his water just dripping from his mouth because he puts his whole face in the water when he drinks. I know when he's happy, he's got a really waggy tail. I bet you guys have noticed that with other dogs too. When they're happy, they wag their tail. Now Russell also has very sharp claws. And I know, because I've done this, that you have to clip or trim a dog's claws. So I know that his nails just about need to be trimmed again because this morning he jumped up and kind of scratched me. And so I knew that his claws were pretty sharp and that it's time for a trim. So let's see. The things that I've talked about that I know, that he's a sheepadoodle, that he's got curly hair, sharp claws that need to be trimmed, he wags his tail when he's happy. Those are all things that I could write about. So I'm going to get back to the writing in a minute, but I also want to remind you about our little friend Rags. Hi Rags, how are you doing? I'm doing pretty well today. That you could write some things that you notice about a stuffed animal, like he's got a black nose, and a pink tongue. Same thing with this little guy. That his tail wags. Those are some things that I notice about Russell or Rags. Remember, you could do it about a real animal or a stuffed animal. Either way is just fine. So Russell, I don't mean to be rude, but I'm going to put this right in front of your face now. You too, Rags. Okay, so I started off by saying Russell is a sheepadoodle. And now, for my next part, I could write some sentences that say things like, he has curly hair, or he wags his tail when he's happy, or he has sharp claws, or I can do some I sees. That's another good sentence starter. I see his curly hair. I see him wag his tail when he's happy. I see, or I feel, his sharp claws. I see water dripping from his chin. So I'm going to do one of each of those sentences. You could do all of one type or all of another. So far it says Russell is a sheepadoodle. And I put a capital at the beginning of the sentence for two reasons. First of all, Russell is a name, so that's why he has to be capital. And also because it's the first letter of a sentence. That's an important reason to put a capital. Sheepadoodle's capital because that's the type of dog that he is, and so that's important to put on there too. So it says Russell is a sheepadoodle, and I'm going to say he, H-E, don't forget your spaces, he has curly hair, maybe I'll say I see, oh, I want to point this out. Remember, I, when it's all by itself is always going to be a capital. So I'm not going to write a line and then a dot. I'm going to write it just like this, like a capital I. I see him wag his tail when he, there's that word again, he is happy. Now I'm running out of space here, but I could keep going and say something like I see the water dripping off of his chin, or I feel his sharp claws. Remember that the work that we're doing this week is all about observation. So it's the things that you notice, the things that you see. Like I could put, he comes when I have treats, because he always does. He's very food motivated. So think about what you have at home. It might be a pet. It might be an animal that's around in your neighborhood that you have noticed or that you've watched. That would be another good thing to do an observation on. It might be an insect that you've had around your house. I know that some kids have chosen some insects to watch and observe as they grow and change. So you could write about an insect. It could be anything around your house that you want to observe, that you want to look at closely. It's up to you. I chose my puppy, but you might not have a dog at your house, so think about what you would like to choose to write about. So I'd like you to spend some time this week writing some nonfiction things that are true. And I'll give you some other suggestions in the last slide. All right, go find what you're going to observe, and I'll see you next time. One of my favorite authors and illustrators is Gail Gibbons, and she can give us some great ideas about things that we might want to write about. Corn, vegetables, apples, those are easy things that we have around our house that you might want to look at and think about. I could write about one of those things and write some true facts. I love the idea of writing about a season, or maybe rain, things you can do in the rain, or maybe you're interested in space and you want to write some things about the moon and you want to do some studying. Another thing that I really enjoy writing about is living creatures. So you know I love to have living animals around. I love the turtle and the stick bug, and I have dogs at my house, and I used to have a bunny. We've raised butterflies. Now I'm getting the chicken eggs in the mail soon. So all of those things are great ideas to write about too. And then finally, think about things that you might want to write about around your house. Maybe you want to write about a toy, or maybe an instrument, or maybe you have a pet at home that you want to write about like I did. Think about some good ideas for writing. Check out my list, and I hope you have a great time writing this week. I can't wait to see what you come up with. Happy writing!